everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, if you've been keeping up with the videos so far, then you'll know that I have talked about blood pressure, I've talked about blood sugar, and why looking after these two things is very important for your health as you move forward in your life. And today I'm bringing in a third element, and that is cholesterol. Now, the reason is because just like with blood pressure and blood sugar, cholesterol levels go very much under the radar until things start to go wrong. And like many of the health conditions I talk about, having high cholesterol is one of those things that is very lifestyle based, meaning that by making changes to your lifestyle, you can either prevent cholesterol levels going too high or maybe even bring them down if they are high already. Now, first things first, we need to know what cholesterol actually is because it's a term that's thrown around a lot. Now, cholesterol is probably best described in the most simple of terms as a waxy substance, and it's found inside your body and also in food. Now, what I want everyone to know is that cholesterol isn't inherently a bad thing. Your body needs it in order to build cells, to make vitamins, to make hormones. It's important in the day-to-day running of your body's processes. The issue is when you have too much cholesterol, because that's when you start to get issues, particularly with your heart. And I will go into this a lot more later in the video. But I want to start with why you need to care about your cholesterol levels. Like I said before, many people don't know that their cholesterol is too high because there are no symptoms until much later on. But about 40% of Americans have high cholesterol. In Australia, those numbers are very similar at around 42%. Now, when you look at the spread, you will find that it's people over 55 years old that tend to have higher cholesterol. But just like with high blood pressure and diabetes, we are seeing people getting high cholesterol at younger ages. And the most concerning thing is seeing children with high cholesterol, which has been a trend that research has been finding when looking at cholesterol levels in those under 18 years old. In fact, 7% of US children from the ages of 6 to 19 have high cholesterol. So it's not just the older population anymore that this is a problem in. Now, the main reason all of this is so concerning is because high cholesterol is a large factor for heart disease. And I'm sounding like a broken record here, but I want to really just double down on the fact that heart disease is the leading cause of death, the number one cause. So if you can control your cholesterol levels, you can reduce the risk of getting heart disease, and that's one less thing to worry about. Now, how does having high cholesterol lead to heart disease? Well, when your cholesterol levels are high, you may get something called atherosclerosis. Now, this is when cholesterol builds up inside the walls of your blood vessels and forms what we call plaques. These can get bigger over time, and if that happens, the blood flow that usually goes through the vessel gets interfered with, and this means less blood going to your organs or around your body like you would usually need it to. This becomes more of a problem if the vessel that is getting blocked up is trying to get blood to your heart. Less blood flow to your heart can cause chest pain, which is known as angina, and these are basically warnings that your heart muscles are not getting enough oxygen from blood. And if things get bad enough, sometimes that plaque can rupture, and this means that the plaque essentially bursts and all of its contents get released into the blood vessel. Now, your body will react to this as if severe damage has been caused to the blood vessel, and that means blood clots will form in the area, and you may get a clot large enough to cause a complete blockage of the vessel, which means no oxygen will be going to the heart, and this is when you get a heart attack. But atherosclerosis isn't just a problem for the blood vessels that supply blood to the heart. This can happen all throughout the body and cause issues everywhere. For example, if the vessel was instead one that supplied blood to the brain, then instead of a heart attack, you would experience a stroke, which is the 5th leading cause of death around the world. Now, I simplified that a lot, and I might do a video that explains atherosclerosis a bit more if anyone wants that. But at a very basic level, that's what you want to avoid, and that's why you want to control your cholesterol levels. So how does cholesterol get high? Before I explain this, I need you all to know the difference between LDL and HDL. Sometimes you hear things like good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and this is what they are referring to. Now, I don't like referring to these as good and bad cholesterol because they aren't technically pure cholesterol. LDL and HDL are actually a type of protein that transport cholesterol around the body. So LDL, that stands for low density lipoprotein, and this is the one that is bad cholesterol. And what it does is it packages cholesterol along with fats like triglycerides and other proteins, and it carries them all from the liver to other cells all around the body. HDL is high density lipoprotein, aka your good cholesterol, and it's similar in that it transports cholesterol around just like LDL, but this one moves in the opposite direction. It collects cholesterol from the bloodstream, from the arteries, and it transports it all back to the liver where it can get processed for use in the body or disposed of. So this is why it's called good cholesterol, because it's kind of the cleanup crew that takes cholesterol away from building up in vessels, while LDL is bad because it's taking cholesterol to areas where it can build up in vessels and form those plaques that I was talking about earlier. So back to how high cholesterol can happen. The main cause is a poor diet. If you are consuming too many foods that are high in cholesterol, saturated and trans fats, then your cholesterol levels can increase. Now, what foods have high cholesterol? Well, mainly animal products, so things like red meat, full-fat dairy products, fried and processed foods. Fast food comes under this. Egg yolks tend to have a bit of cholesterol too. Now, I've included a little table here just to show some common foods and how much cholesterol they have. I'll be doing a deep dive into cholesterol in the future though, so don't worry, we'll cover all the foods then. Next up is a lifestyle that lacks physical activity. Regular exercise can increase HDL, which is the good stuff, and it can actually lower your LDL, so that promotes a healthy cholesterol profile for you. Now, if you aren't moving as much as you should be, then that LDL goes up. And if you are overweight or obese, then that is also usually associated with higher cholesterol levels, because excess body fat can alter the way that cholesterol is processed in your body, and that can lead to LDL increasing. Now, the good news is that these things that I've just mentioned, diet and exercise, are things you can control to change your cholesterol profile. There are things that you cannot change, like genetics and age, which also contribute to high cholesterol levels, but there's no point getting caught up in things you have no control over and can't change. So stick to the things you can control, focus on those. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is, what does high cholesterol actually mean? Well, in order to find out your cholesterol levels, you will need to get a blood test done. Now, the test is called a lipid profile, and this checks the levels of fats in your blood. So it's not just cholesterol, it includes triglycerides as well. Now, the results when you go and get one of these tests will look something like this. So you can see here that HDL, LDL, total cholesterol, and triglycerides are shown. Now, what we want to see is HDL being above 1.0, LDL being below 2.0, and total cholesterol being 5.5 or below. If you are someone who is already at risk or high risk for heart disease, so that might mean you already have diagnosed high blood pressure, then your doctor will be a bit more strict and probably will want to see lower numbers for your LDL and total cholesterol. Now, if you're 20 years old and over, you actually should know what these numbers are looking like for yourself. So if you haven't had these levels checked, take this as a sign that you need to do that. Now, generally speaking, you want to check this every 5 years if you're over 20, and anyone over 65 years old should get this test done every year. So there you have it. That is a quick and easy explanation on why you need to care about your cholesterol levels. Hopefully, now that you've seen this and also my past videos on high blood pressure and diabetes, you can see that the three are all linked. And a lot of the time, these conditions don't happen in isolation. Someone that has high blood pressure will also be experiencing high blood sugar or high cholesterol. The body is one machine, and when things go wrong in one area, it starts to cascade, and slowly one problem leads to another. So what I'm trying to say is your best bet is trying to prevent these things from happening in the first place. Make the changes that I keep preaching about and play the long game. If you're watching this and you already have one or more of the conditions, then it's not too late either, because across the board, all the research points to benefits in some way from changing up your lifestyle. You have nothing to lose from trying to live a healthier life. Absolutely nothing to lose. So subscribe for weekly videos on how to live a healthy but sustainable lifestyle. Don't forget to give a like either. All the engagement with the videos may seem annoying to do, but it does go a long way in helping to get the content out there so that more people can see and hopefully benefit from it. Thanks for watching if you got this far, and I will see you next week. Until then, keep playing the long game.